Making colors pop should be a fun process, right? Not a confusing one. And in this video, I'm going to share with you a few techniques that's going to make it a breeze. So without any further ado, let's get started. Let's say this is your photo straight out of camera. This can be a raw file, this can be a JPEG. Let's drag it and drop it into Photoshop. Keep in mind, you can do the same thing in Lightroom. Now, we're going to make a copy of this by pressing Ctrl or Command J. If this was a raw file, it will directly open in Camera Raw. And that's what we're going to do right here. With this copy, we're going to go to Filter and then Convert for Smart Filters. Why? So that whatever filter we apply, in this case, the Camera Raw filter, we can change the values later. Let's go to Filter and then Camera Raw Filter. Inside of this, the very first thing I would recommend doing is getting the white balance right. So inside of the color module, click on this eyedropper. Now we need to click on an area which should have been neutral when this photo was being taken. So in this case, which area do you think it is? I'm guessing her dress, her top right here. But there are several points of the top. Where do we click? Do we click here? Do we click there? Let's take an average. It's very easy to take an average. Just click and drag. And if you let it go, it will take an average of all of those colors and there you go, half battle won. And if you don't have an area that you can take a reference from, just play with these sliders until you feel that it is right. Here is the before and here is the after. Off to a good start. Now let's take care of the skin tone, shall we? Let's scroll down and open up the color mixer. Inside of that, you want to make sure mixer is activated and select this tool. It makes it super simple. With the hue activated right here, as you hover over the skin tones, 2 points show up. Now if you click and drag on the right hand side, if you take it, it's going to make it greener and it shows green right there. And if you take it to the left hand side, it's going to make it more magenta. So I'm going to take it slightly towards the left hand side. There you go, that looks nice. Now let's go to the saturation. Let's take it to the right to increase the saturation. There you go, this is nice. And luminance is fine, we don't need to touch it. On top of that, you can also do some color grading that helps balance the skin tones. So let's scroll down, open up the color grading module. Inside of that, all I'm gonna do is to add some warm highlights. So let's take this point from the middle into the color that you wanna take it to. So I'm gonna make it warmer and have a look. Instantly, this gets so much better. So maybe at about saturation 42 right here, and you can change the color. Let's make it a little bit more warmer, and just like that, fantastic. Now you can also play with the midtones and shadows, but that is not really needed. So let's take it a little bit to the right to make it a little more warmer, but that's it. Now while we are here, why not just also enhance the lighting? Let's scroll up, open up the light module. Inside of that, this is what I usually do. I decrease the highlights a little bit to get the details, increase the shadows to get a little more detail, and then control the whites and the blacks. You can hold the shift key. These turn into auto. So as soon as you hold the shift key, it turns into auto whites, auto blacks, and when you click on them, it automatically sets the whites. If you click on this, it automatically sets the blacks. How cool is that? Now you can take it further. This is art creation. You don't have to worry about preserving the details as long as it looks good. This is not photojournalism. Now, one of the most obvious things we can do to enhance colors is increase saturation. First of all, let's close this. But if we increase the saturation by going to the color section and increase vibrance or saturation, whatever you do, it just explodes the skin tones. How do we do that without hurting the skin? You guessed that right, masking. Let's double click on it to reset it. Let's go to the mask section. So we are going to select just the background and just click on the background, and with the later versions of Camera Raw, this becomes so much easier. Scroll down and we can just play with the temperature a little bit, make it slightly warmer. Oh my gosh, this is looking so good. And you can also play with the tint. There you go, this is amazing. Let's scroll down further and increase the saturation from right here. Already looking fantastic. Now, you can also add a color to the background. Just click here right next to color and let's add whatever color you wish. All of them look fantastic. By the way, I love this purple. Now, definitely this is way too much. So let's decrease the saturation here and just have it just a little bit like so. This is something creative that we are doing. Hit OK once you're happy, and if you don't like it, you can set it to white and the color goes away. Hit OK. Now I don't like it on the sky, so how do we subtract it from it? Simple. Just click on the subtract button here and we will choose select sky. It automatically subtracts the sky. So good. Now whatever you did in this mask, you can proportionately increase it or decrease it with this amount slider. So if you decrease it, it's like decreasing the opacity in Photoshop. But if you increase it, it's like duplicating the layer or the adjustment layer. So maybe 108, fantastic. Now finally, to give it a little more edge, how can we forget? Curves. Let's go to the edit section. Inside of that, open up curve module, and we're going to click right here. By default, this should be active. Let's click on this so we can play with it as we like. Let's take the point on the right to the left to make the bright areas brighter. Now it also saturates the image, and to control that you can play with refined saturation, but not really needed. I actually like it. Let's take the left slider to the right as well. Slightly, very slightly. Now there is literally no end to this. You can keep going on and on and on and on and continue to experiment. What I recommend is just look away for a while, just for a little while, and then look back to see if there are areas of improvement. In this case, I feel that we can open up color grading and maybe increase the saturation a little bit more to bring more warmth to the skin. Now, another thing you can try here is a bit of sharpening. So for that, let's open up the detail section. Inside of that, increase the sharpening. Let's keep it a little bit high and then play with the radius. Hold the Alt key or the Option key. Gradually take the slider to the right to see which areas are being accentuated. You don't want to see a lot of halos. A little bit is fine. So I'm going to keep it right about 1.4. Keep holding the Alt key or the Option key, and now let's play with the details. How much details do you want? I'm just going to keep it very, very low. And of course, we don't want to sharpen everything like the soft areas. So for that, again, keep holding the Alt key or the Option key and play with the masking. Black are the areas where the sharpening is not being applied. So right about, I should say 60. This is fine. Adds a nice sharpening. Now you can play with the amount. So I'm going to keep it right around 90. That should do the job. I'm not sure if you can see it on YouTube because it's compressed, and hit OK once you're satisfied. And if you think you have gone overboard, you can always decrease the opacity. Actually, 83 looks good, but I'm going to keep it 100. Now's the time for us where we can look into retouching. But to be very honest with you, I usually don't have the time to remove each blemish, too high-end dodging and burning for every photo, unless it's a very important photo or cover of a magazine or a billboard, something like that. Otherwise, I usually use plugins. They do an incredible job and batch edit a ton of photos or even one photo very quickly. By the way, it's very important to know the traditional methods, so you can go ahead and correct when the plugin doesn't get it right, or you can take an artistic call. In this case, I'm just going to create a stamp visible layer at the top by pressing Ctrl, Alt, Shift, and E with the topmost layer selected. Now, there are a bunch of plugins for retouching in the market today. You can use whatever you want, but I recommend Retouch for me because you can use it offline. It is not a credit system and it just works brilliantly. Let's go for Retouch for me, and there are lots of plugins inside of this. Go to Heal. It automatically detects all the blemishes and removes them. So here's the sensitivity slider. You can choose how many blemishes you want to remove, and you can choose to make mask, hit apply. And in this layer, there are only areas which have been replaced. Here's the before, here's the after. Pretty amazing. On top of that, you can again press Ctrl, Alt, Shift, and E and go for a second plugin. Go to Filter, Retouch for me, and this time let's pick Dodge and Burn, and it automatically does high-end dodging and burning super fast. You can choose how much you want with the blend slider. This is none, this is a little bit. So let's go for about 86, make it slightly warmer like so. And I want to create a soft light layer, hit apply, and let us change the blend mode from normal to soft light. Everything is non-destructive. Soft light right here, and you're pretty much done. And you can try these plugins absolutely for free. Test it on your images, see how it is like. And if it works great for you and you're a professional and you make money from your photography or retouching business, I highly, highly recommend it. But if you're a beginner, you're starting out, I don't recommend it. This is a lot of money unless you're very sure that you're going to be using it. They probably have a sale going on right now, but check the link in description to get a discount even higher than the sale. Now, finally, you can do some finishing touches like adding some shine to the eyes. For that, let's create our favorite. Click on the adjustment layer icon and then choose curves. Let's take it up like so. Select the mask, press Ctrl or Command I, take the brush with white as the foreground color and a soft round brush, just dab. There you go. Similarly, let's do it right here as well on the opposite side of the catch light. And then let's erase the extras, press X to toggle between the foreground and the background color, and with black, erase the extra. Here as well. There you are. Let's have a look at the before and after. So here is the before and here is the after. Crazy, crazy difference. And see how easy that was? Told you, adding colors should be fun, and Camera or Lightroom makes it super simple to do. The actual challenge here is understanding when to stop. And that is something that takes practice. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to give us a like, and also don't forget to subscribe, and not just subscribe. Ring the bell so that you, my friend, don't miss any other future tips, tricks, or tutorials. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Till then, stay tuned and make sure that you keep creating.